Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the greatest show you've ever seen in your life. The Lost Boyz Podcast.
Episode 20.
Yep. And today's topic, I'll tell you in a bit. First, before you do that, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, turn the notification bell on so you get notified when we post, which is every Thursday at 12 p.m. Follow the TikTok if you want, Lost Boyz Podcast. And follow our socials, they're down below. And now you can find out the topic of the episode, even though it's already in the title and you already knew. It is handling difficulties.
Yes, sir. I think, given today and just conversations we had today, I think this is a very fitting topic because, listen, nobody's life is sweet, so anything that you're struggling with, because we're not talking about anything in specific today, not like, oh, if you're going through this, do this, but just in general, when life gets hard, how to get through that.
Yep. And if you're wondering, my name is Gianni. You gotta take the name tag off. I just realized when I looked at the screen.
Oh, man.
All right. To start off, I heard a quote today that I kind of want to start off with. And it was, acknowledge obstacles, but don't let them consume you. And I think it's a really good quote because I feel like oftentimes when we get presented with difficult situations or tasks or things we need to do or take care of, it's just another obstacle in the way. And I find that many times what we do as humans is we start dwelling on the obstacle instead of saying, okay, here's an obstacle. What am I going to do to get past the obstacle now?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I do it sometimes too. And many people do it. But I think it's a really good quote because it's very straightforward and true. Just acknowledge what's in front of you, acknowledge the obstacle, but don't let it consume you. Just see it's there and find the solution to it.
Yeah, no, I like that too because it's not one of those, you can't go through anything, don't feel nothing, don't see anything, nothing like that. It's not one of those bulletproof yourself in that way and act like everything in life is sweet. It's more so understand what's happening and handle it, but handle it in a proper way.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely like that idea better than the usual just be bulletproof and nothing happens in life and nothing matters.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't think that's the best way to go about it. But I also think difficult times and being in difficult times are essential to life. And I think if you don't have difficulties at some point in life, then you kind of just, to be honest, it's kind of boring, but too is very stagnant too. You don't really grow too much. For me, I know I'm growing when I'm facing adversity, no matter what it is, because I know no matter what, whether I succeed or fail, there's going to be some type of lesson I'm going to take from it that in a sense it's a win. It's like I always say, I was saying it earlier today, I've never lost before. I either win or I learn, but I never lose. And that's a perfect example of that's okay, I'm facing a time of adversity. Is it a crazy obstacle in the way? There's a obstacle in the way, something. No matter what comes out of this, whether it's for the good or for the bad, I'm still walking away with a lesson, and that lesson is going to set me up for the future, so I still won.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I see it.
At the end of the day, growth, experience, knowledge, those are all points that you won. You might set up a definition for the win in your head of what you think it would be like if you beat that situation, but in reality, sometimes you just got to go through it. Yeah, you didn't win the way you had planned in your head, but at the other end, you came out a different person. You came out smarter. You came out better. You are now stronger, and you're better equipped to handle the next difficult time that life is going to throw at you.
Yeah, I think the best teachers are hard times. That's where you learn the most. The best lessons I've ever learned were through hard times. In the moment, you don't realize it or you don't understand it, or you're just this is terrible, whatever, and you start dwelling. But then once it passes and you reflect and then you kind of look back, you're oh, this makes so much more sense now. now I see why this and this happened and what led to this and this happening. Now I know going forward how to see it, how to get away from it, I guess, or how to overcome it as well. And I think that comes with handling difficult times. Like, I think difficult times are essential, which is why I don't want difficult times, but I do think they're essential occasionally. I don't think you should only want difficult times, right? You want to live good too.
Yeah.
But it's a great point of like growth. Because like for me, for example, when I started this new job, it's been a month in, right? That first day for me was that like training started with so much information. I was so overwhelmed that like I almost had that self-doubt come into my mind, like, damn, am I going to be able to do this? Like, what the heck? And then I got to the training, and I was like, that was nothing. Like, what was I thinking about? Like, I went through, like, a little difficult time during that training because everything was brand new to me. But I stuck with it. I tried to learn and apply as much of it as possible. And when I came out of it, I also asked people and stuff. So when I did come out the training, because I thought I was struggling, I found myself to like kind of jump a little extra than some other people that I've spoken to in their first week out of training, how they went. You know, like the experience I had and they had were like completely different. And I think a lot of it was because I felt that struggle, but I also acted upon the struggle to not have to feel that struggle anymore.
You took the actions to overcome it.
Exactly.
Essentially. And even then, you touched on something that we've touched on before, how important it is. Like, if you're struggling with something, but you know somebody who is really good at that or really good at handling that, or if it's something as nuanced as like a job, where just ask.
Yeah.
What's the most you can lose by just asking for help, or asking somebody who understands the topic better than you? You have nothing to lose.
Yeah. And I think one of the key things in that too was like, and even so, like, I face every time now, for example, the example I'm using is work. Every week I face a new struggle or adversity, but through questions and trying to get past it, I do get past it. But what allows me to do that, instead of saying like, oh my God, this is crazy, what am I going to do? And hoping for a miracle to happen. And then that's it, like, oh, okay, I'm good now. Instead, I'm being proactive, but I also understand that it's temporary. Every single difficult situation I'm going through, whether it be life, work, anything, it's temporary. Like, it's not going to be like this forever, as long as I choose to not let it be like this forever. So everything is in my hand. And I think once you understand that everything is temporary, no matter how you feel in the moment, you're gonna be able to understand, like, okay, I know this is gonna end at some point.
Yeah.
So I just need to like focus on what I need to focus on. So once it ends, I'm good. I'm ready to go. And I think a big teacher for that for me was yoga. Actually, when I did yoga taught me a lot. One, it taught me how to become comfortable with being uncomfortable, because those poses were crazy. And then two, it taught me in the poses that like everything is temporary, because in those poses my mind would be like telling me, because I'm stretching like more than I've ever stretched ever, and my mind would be telling me like, bro, just stop. Like, why are you doing this to us?
Yeah.
Just stop. But I would literally say to myself, like, this is temporary. Like, in a couple seconds, it's over and I'm good. And that allowed me to like build that habit and mentality of like, okay, I could get through this. This is for now, but it's not forever. I think that's the key.
See, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's actually one of the points I had written down. Is like, at some point this has to end. Like, you're not gonna live in the same situation forever. But I think a big pivoting point, like you mentioned, in any of these situations is that moment of when you say to yourself, all right, what can I learn from this? Or what am I going to learn from this? Or, you know what? Let me see what I can learn from this. That's it. It turns it into, why is this happening to me? To like, all right, this is actually can be a good thing. I'm
Yeah.
gonna come out of it okay. With most things, if you can tell yourself, look, I will come out of this situation okay, you start to realize things aren't as bad as they seem.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that bad. But a lot of it is in our heads. And we stress ourselves out and we dwell on things, which stops us from finding the positive outcome to certain difficult situations.
Yeah, I think when you say, why is this happening to me? Essentially what you have done is you just made yourself a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you've lost.
Yeah.
Then you could say you lost. And now you need to work extra hard because now you're playing the victim card, where instead of saying, well, what you're saying is, why is this happening to me? Instead, you should be saying, how can I get past this? In a sense, like, there's different questions you should be asking. Not, why is this happening to me? Is more like a, I give up.
Yeah.
Kind of mindset versus like, okay, this is happening to me for a reason. What's the reason that it's happening to me for? And not in a sense like the victim mindset, but like, I'm going to be proactive to figure out the reason. But by trying to figure out the reason proactively, you, one, find the reason, and two, you get past it. And then once you get past it and you understand why, then it never happens again. Or at least the second time around is easier to handle, per se.
Yeah, no, because it's all building blocks. If you just learned how to drive, right? The first time you drive in the rain could be a little nerve-wracking. The second time, a little less. The third time, a little less. But by the fourth, fifth, sixth time, you don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's all just exposure and putting yourself through situations and or let me not say putting yourself through, but allowing yourself to go through situations. What you mentioned before, there's also similar to something I have written down, where it's something that I've mentioned on the podcast before, where it's like, what is the lowest hanging fruit that you can grab? What is the lowest, simplest thing that you can do to improve your situation? It doesn't matter. I always use the example of, maybe it's just making your bed in the morning. And that's just a little bit of momentum for the day. So that helps you through something. It doesn't necessarily matter what it is. Just find what is the lowest hanging fruit for you to progress.
Yep, I agree. And I also think with great adversity comes great success. Also, I don't know if you could tell on camera, but like if you rewind like 10, 20 seconds ago, I was like so zoned out. I feel like my eyes were like twitching and everything. I'm so tired. But
it's been long days.
Yeah. But yeah, I think with great adversity comes great success. Nothing great comes easily. Steph Curry did not become a great 3-point shooter easily. LeBron James did not become a great basketball player easily. Michael Jordan did not. Kobe did not. Anything, whether it's sports, TV broadcasting, radio hosts, literally you name it, no one became that without going through adversity. Like, no one was just like skipping through like, oh my God, this is so easy. Yeah. Because then it's not a big deal. If it's easy, then it has no value. It's like anything in the market, right? If it's too accessible, then it's too cheap. Then it's not too cheap. It's cheap because it has no value, because there's too much of it. But when people, it's like Navy SEALs, for example. The reason why they're so, not only are they super skilled, but the reason why they're so like valued and like respected is not only because their skill and what they do and that they protect our country, but because people understand that there's so much adversity they have to face just to become a Navy SEAL, let alone what it is when they're on the job, that not every single person can handle. Well, every person can handle it. Not every person is capable of allowing themselves to handle it. And like I said, nothing great comes easy. So the fact that you think, or whatever the case, the fact that you not being happy is like keeping you down, and you're just like, damn, why can't I just be happy? Why can't I have one day where I'm just happy? Well, you need to understand, in order for you to appreciate and experience that happiness, you also have to experience the sadness.
Yeah.
And it's not until you really dig deep and figure out, okay, why is this going on? How can I get past it? That then you'll get to that point where you can get past it, and now you're not sad anymore, or you're happy, or you're living at a level playing field where like you're at peace for the most part, and you have your little ups and downs, but you're here and you're good, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super well said, because you can't, like you said, live too much on either extreme, because if you look around society, there's plenty of people that you can see that are living on either extreme. The manic people that are running around and always partying, and then the super depressed people, with my quotes around that, who are just doing the complete opposite and not doing anything. Neither of the two are healthy. It's the person in between where, all right, you might get down sometimes, but we're good, right? It's temporary. You might have a really good month, but you know what? It's temporary. Like, you don't get too comfortable up there. Because I don't think it's the change of circumstance that is necessarily bad. I think it's people getting comfortable with certain things that becomes really bad.
Yeah.
And that works in the reverse too, because there are people who get comfortable in shitty situations and just allow themselves to live in shitty situations.
That's a great point. I think a lot of people, especially like, that was one of the points I wanted to bring up, is like, don't dwell on it, on rough times. Because I think that's what happens. People dwell on it, and they go through, because of their dwelling, it like almost extends that rough time, and they get so accustomed to it that they become comfortable with it, and they just they accept it as a lifestyle and as like an identity for them. Like, I'm just the depressed person or whatever. Or I'm just the like crazy happy person, which I don't think is a bad thing, but they make that their identity. And because they become so comfortable, so stepping out that comfort zone is almost like difficult for them. It's like anything else is like, you've always had a secure job, and then all of a sudden you wanted to quit and start your own business. And it's very uncomfortable, because you're like, what the fuck? Like, anything can happen right here. Like, so much could go wrong, but also so much can go right. I think once people adopt that mentality of like, I'm always like down and sad and all that, or whatever the case may be, whatever rough time you're going through, it's always going to be this way, then it'll always be that way, because you're allowing it to be that way, because you're too comfortable, and it makes you uncomfortable trying to change being that way.
It's like, it all goes back to like peeling the layers of the onion, right? It's a piece of you that you have to peel off, that you have to shed, and that shit's, once you get comfortable, it's painful to take those parts of you away, because it's very easy to get comfortable with certain toxic things in your life or something like that, and just to say, you know what, like you said, I'm just the depressed person, I'm just the rowdy person or the rude person, like, deal with it. And I think that's, side note, tangent about it coming in, I think that's one of the issues with society, is that things like social media and everything tells you, no, people just have to accept you the way you are. No, motherfucker, if you're rude, fix that. Like, don't get comfortable with things that you can fix.
Yeah.
If it's in your control, which 9.999 out of 10 things I do believe are in your control, you shouldn't get comfortable with them. It's your job to improve upon it and maintain it, the way I see it. Like, if you're going through a point in time where you're not happy with your body, right? Go to the gym. Or if it's finances, stop spending so much fucking money. Or if you feel like shit, start eating better. Start eating cleaner.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like, there's a lot that's in your control. And if you're not happy with your job, explore your options. And if you don't have options, create some. Learn some new skills. There's 70 million different websites that you can learn skills on. Shout out LinkedIn.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. For me personally, like, if I'm talking about my personal experience, every time I face like difficult times, no matter what it be, like any difficult time, the way I view it is more like okay, this time is difficult right here. why is it difficult right now? Because X, Y, and Z. What do I need to do to make it not be difficult? X, Y, and Z. Why did I all of a sudden I just get excited? Because I know great things are coming now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, as I don't look forward to difficult times, I don't want difficult times. But every time a difficult time comes up, it's like, okay, cool. I know, but when I get over this, something great is gonna come out of it. So it's almost like I'm looking for. It's almost like a, is it foreshadow?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a foreshadow to great times coming ahead. Because when you get one extreme, you also tend to get the other, and then it kind of balances out afterwards.
Rule of nature.
Yeah, it's usually the way it goes. And I think when you embrace the hard times and what comes with it, that's like super key, because it also makes you who you are. Like a lot of times people want to know your story, right? Like that's one example. Like, oh, like people ask, oh, what's your story?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you come from? What'd you go through? What's this? What's that? That kind of shapes you into the person you become. And it's all about how you handle it. That you can become this way, or you could become this way. But you had a choice.
Yeah.
Whether you think you did or not, you had a choice, and you made a choice to either go this way or that way. So it's still your fault. It's like the example I bring up with the hero and the villain all the time. The hero and the villain, the only thing that separates them is the choices they make and how they chose to respond.
True.
They both go through the same trauma. One chooses, okay, I'm going to go this route where I'm going to do everything I possibly can to make sure I'm the only person that has to go through this again. Mm-hmm. And no one else ever has to go through it, and you get a hero. You get this person who went through the same exact thing and goes, it happened to me, fuck that, it has to happen to everyone now.
Yeah.
Becomes a villain. Same trauma, different responses. Same thing with difficult times and adversity in life. You go through something, it's about your response. It can either create greatness, or you could dwell on it, make it your identity, think life's over, it sucks, and you're going to live like this forever. And then you go backwards and you do live forever like that because you're making yourself live that way.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is just your choice. Whether you think it is or not, like, oh, some things are not your fault, right? Like, oh, it's not my fault. This, and this happened to me when I was this, and that. But how you choose to respond to it is your fault. And that's what people don't see. And that's not just like depressed or like that's literally anything in life. It could be work, like an issue at work. Mm-hmm. Could be an issue with transportation. Could be an issue with the gym and your results. It could be an issue. It could literally be an issue with anything. Difficult time can be anything. It doesn't have to be one specific thing. I think all of that generally applies to all of it, though.
It's true. And like, you could be having a really difficult time at the gym, but having great success at work. Mm-hmm. And like you said, not everything is tied together necessarily. Like, you might be excelling in all areas of your life, but you know what? You might be a little lonely. Like, this isn't to be taken as in everything is tied together and, there's one way to go through everything, because that's not the case. It's when you're facing anything, I'm going to say an obstacle in any realm of life that you need to overcome. This is necessarily what we're talking about more so, as opposed to like, when everything, or as if everything's going wrong in life, which is, on a different note, also finding what is going good for you in life. Because, like I said, yeah, you might not be doing the best in the gym, but you know what? You just got a promotion. Or you know what? Your friend group is strong and, you're doing well with that. Or you're doing well financially. Like, it could be anything. Finding what's really going good for you and taking lessons out of that. Try to take lessons out of the good, even though I think there's way more value in learning from, difficult times and failures and things like that. There is something to be said for when times are good. They got good for a reason. What can you learn from it to either try to maintain it or apply that to the next cycle? Because everything is a cycle to an extent.
Of course. It's literally a cycle. things go up and then they come back down and they come back around and they go back up and down and around, and it just keeps happening. The key is how you respond to it. That's the biggest thing. How you respond to it is going to determine how far down it goes and how far up it goes. It could just go like that, or it could go like this, or it could go and then just stay down here the whole time.
True.
I don't even think the camera could see what my hand was doing, but
you
like
get the point.
this, like that. But yeah, I think it's just there's a lesson in it all, and a lot of the times the way I like to see it is like life telling me like, okay, you need to improve in this sector of life. Like, you're not as strong as you may think you are, or you're not as, I don't know,
smart.
You're not doing as much as you need to do. You either need to get stronger in this aspect of life, you need to level up, depending what it is. And you just, this moment is going to make you better for the future. And life is telling me right now, you're not capable at the moment. So here's a difficult time, and the only reason why it's difficult is because you're not capable at the moment. But once you get past this, you will be. So it won't be difficult no more. And then eventually you face a new challenge, and it's life telling you you're not good enough for this. So this is why you're going through it, and then you go through it, and then you get better, and then you're good enough for it, and then life throws you a new one. And then you constantly just keep going up and up and up, and you get better and better and better if you allow yourself to be better. And you look, if you have a positive mindset towards it. Because, again, you could just say, you could let it consume you and just say like, oh man, well, my life sucks. Why is this happening to me? Like, this isn't fair, this isn't that. And then just curl up into a ball and let life just kick you the whole time. And then you lost. You're defeated. You have a defeated mindset. You lost before it even happened because you allowed it to get that bad. But you can always make it better. It's just a mindset change. Again, it's all mental.
It is all mental. But something you're honestly naturally, without even seeing my points, touching on a lot of the things that I have written down. Like, when times do get difficult, it's time to buckle up. It's time to improve. It's time to level up. It's time to do what it takes to get to the next level. It's time to really build yourself up, because the person you are has faced something that it is struggling with, that you are struggling with. So you know what? Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's fix things. Get to the next level.
100%. I was gonna say something. I didn't write it down, and now I forgot it.
Then I'll say one of the other points that I was gonna mention before while you dig deep into the files to find yours is something that I got from Kendall actually is it's not what you go through that matters, it's how you go through it. And I wanted to piggyback that off of the way you were saying it's how you respond to things, because it absolutely is. You could turn a really shitty situation into a really great lesson and pass that knowledge on to somebody else, and now it's a net positive for the world. Or you could take a really shitty situation, let it defeat you, and you never progress past that.
Yeah.
The choice is yours.
Yep. I think everything happens for a reason. There's always a reason behind something. Whether you understand it now or you understand it 25 years from now, there's always a reason why it happened. And if you don't learn it right then and there, you learn it at some point. The point I was going to bring up was the light at the end of the tunnel. I know it's like a common reference, but it's true. Like, when you're going through difficult times, remember that light is always at the end of the tunnel. That light never goes away until you die. When you die, that light's gone. You're dead. There's nothing you can do. No matter how far down you go, no matter how difficult the situation or the problem or the issue or whatever it may be, the challenge, that light is always there at the end of the tunnel. It could be really tiny or it could be massive, but the point is that it's still there. And if it's still there, there's still a chance. So do what you got to do to make sure you get there.
You just reminded me of another quote that was said today. Like you're saying, the light at the end of the tunnel. Understand, you can't see the picture if you're standing in the frame.
Yeah.
So that why me, why me, why me, one day you'll be able to see that's why it was me.
Mm-hmm.
I needed that to learn this, or I needed that because that led me to meeting these people, which led me to getting this job, which nobody can predict life. Nobody can predict life. That motherfucker's undefeated right now with unexpected shit.
It will forever remain that way.
It's true. And it's funny, one of the lessons in the psychology of money is we make plans with money. This is a completely off-topic side note, but we make plans with money, right? You know what's the error with everybody's plans? They forget that life is unexpected. So we make these plans, but look back 20 years and think of all the unexpected shit that happens. You know how many times we discussed it during the pandemic? Like, yo, who would have thought there would be a time in our life where we cannot go outside?
Yeah.
Like, who would have thunk it?
Yeah, not me. Not me. I really like that quote though. I forgot about it, but I'm glad you brought it up because it's true. Like I remember when I heard it, I was like, "Damn, that's a great point." Like, you can't see the picture if you're in the frame. How can you see it? You're in it. So sometimes you have to take a step back and see everything as a whole, and then go back into it and make choices from there. All in all, though, I feel like one of the key takeaways that I've been kind of got from this, from what I've been saying so far, is like, as cliche as it sounds, trust the process. And that's like something I'm trying to work on in certain aspects. Like you'll notice eventually at work, you would hear say a lot, I said her name. I shouldn't have said her name. But you say a lot. I need you to go back and bleep those.
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
You see this person say a lot, trust the process, because, especially to me, because one of my issues, for example, at work right now is like, I'm so eager to like, just be like, go from like, okay, I just started to on top.
Yeah.
I'm the greatest ever. And then she has to continuously remind me like, no, just trust the process. Like, don't let the fact that after 1 week you're not up here affect you. Like, understand, like, it takes time. Like, as time goes on, you will get there. You just have to trust the process. And I think another thing I wanted to say before that I didn't mention is that, like, when rough times come or difficult times come, I think it's very important to embrace it. Like, when that time comes, a lot of times we try to run away from our difficult times, our challenges, our problems, our issues. We try to find an escape. We try to escape the reality of what's really going on, whether that be if it's work, we try to escape from work as fast as we can or work less. If that's maybe a life event or something, people use drugs or alcohol. People, they do a lot of things to escape the reality versus acknowledging the reality, but also embracing the reality, to embracing that difficult time. Because when you embrace it in the moment, in the present for what it is, you're like, wow, I'm really going through this right now. This is crazy. But these emotions that I feel, I'm going to one day look back and reflect on and be like, damn, that's crazy. I felt like that and I got through that. That's crazy. Like, I think you need to embrace those difficult times because, like I said, that's what's going to make you, you. That's what's going to shape you as a person and build character as a person. If you choose to do the right things about it versus playing the victim card and letting it consume you, well then, no, you won't ever see it. But it's important to embrace those times because when you embrace it too, it makes those great times even greater.
Yeah.
And without bad times, there's no good times. Without good times, there's no bad times. Without, I don't know, anything. It's like that.
Everything builds off of everything else. Like, everything is tied together, man. At the end of the day, you need to be able to appreciate the shit you've gone through. So like that, you need to have experienced shit in order to really appreciate the good times. You know, if there's never rain, why are we gonna care that the sun is out?
Exactly.
Sometimes when it rains, it's like, damn, it's raining outside. But you know what? We've been in a drought.
I don't know why, but these lyrics popped in my head from No Church in the Wild.
Mm.
And it was like, what's a human being to a mob? It's something like that. I don't know if I'm quoting it correctly, but what's a human being to a mob to a king to a god, and a god to a non-believer that don't believe in anything.
It's true.
But if you don't have one, the rest doesn't exist. I don't remember why I brought that up, but it came in my head and I felt the need to say it. So if it somehow resonated and made sense,
Dang.
you have a great mind. You are very intelligent and smart.
Everybody who didn't get it right now is just
I didn't get it myself.
Let's see, 36. I mean,
we don't have to push it, but I kind of feel like I touched on everything I wanted to be honest.
No.
I feel like I oh, you have more?
No, I was going to say, you touched on everything I wanted to and more. I was taking notes on what you were saying.
Yeah. I don't want to, what's the phrase? Beat up a dead horse? Whatever.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know who came up with that, but I guess. Also, my eye is bothering me and I'm tired. So, I think it's a good time to wrap it up. But yeah, it's kind of a shorter one today.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you should really try to... I hope, at least, I conveyed my thoughts well enough for you to really grasp and understand the premise of what I'm trying to say. I don't know how straightforward it was, or if it was straightforward enough. But if you didn't, then listen to it back and just try to really grasp what it is I'm trying to say. And it's more of bad things happen, good things happen. It all comes down to the choice you make. You can either be a victim or you could be a victor.
Mm-hmm.
So choose to win and not lose. It's not that hard. It is hard.
Right there.
But you will come out on top if you choose to win. Whether it's the way you thought you were going to win, or maybe it's a different way of winning. Again, you either have the choice to either be a victim or a victor. Your choice.
Is yours. Choose to win and not lose.
Exactly.
Bum.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like was implied by
In kinder words.
Honestly, I think that's a good place to end it. That was a good wrap up. We touched on a lot. We gave different viewpoints. And we gave new viewpoints, honestly.
Yeah. Again, if there's anything you guys would like to add on to it, or maybe don't agree with, or have certain opinions on whether you agree or disagree, please comment down below what part it is, what it is, why. And I'd love to interact in the comments or DM us. I prefer if you commented for the algorithm, but you could DM us too. Just overall, I just like to have the conversation. But if you're comfortable with it, comment down below. Maybe somebody else might see it, might formulate an opinion similar or different, and then next we have a nice conversation in the comments, and we can all grow and learn and expand and become better.
So who doesn't want to be better?
Exactly. So yeah, I've got nothing left to say. You got anything you want to close off with?
Nah, man, I'm good. You touched on everything I had. We touched on everything I had. I think we're at a solid point.
Right. That being said, episode 20, Lost Boyz Podcast.
20 weeks.
Peace out.
Peace.